Okay, find the third Taylor polynomial for f of x equals tangent x at the x value of negative pi over 4. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is review my formula, right? There's a lot of formulas for our different polynomials and series in this chapter. And this is something I'll give you on the final because it's a lot, okay? So if I'm asking for the third Taylor polynomial, then I'm going to look that up. I'm going to see how that's formed. So if f has n derivatives as c, then the polynomial p sub n of x is given by this guy, right? And that's called the nth Taylor polynomial. That is, if I want to find the third Taylor polynomial, then n is 3, of course, and then I have to go to 3 derivatives, all right? So that means I need to take 3 derivatives of the tangent function. So let's do that here. And I have just the answers here. So your function is tangent. The derivative secant squared. What's the derivative of the secant squared? Well, you'd have to use the chain rule, 2 secant x times the derivative of secant x, secant times tangent. Right, that's where that comes from. And then the third one gets messy, right? We need the product rule here. So see if that makes sense, those 3 derivatives. And then we have 4 functions, the original function, 3 derivatives. And then what do we have to do to get these coefficients? So let's try and translate this. Oh, sorry, that's we want to look at this one because we're not centered at 0. Your book goes on to define the Maclaurin polynomial. So we're not centered at 0, we're centered at c. So I want to be careful and find these coefficients for my polynomial where I evaluate the derivative at negative pi over 4 for this case, and then multiply by 2 factorial for the first or for the second derivative. All right, this one's divided by 1 factorial, which we don't really need, of course, and then the third derivative over 3 factorial. All right, so my form here you can see it in my solution. F of negative pi over 4, that's the first term. F prime of negative pi over 4, x minus c, or x plus pi over 4, and so on. Okay, so that's the form. Some of you, I think, are just missing this. We're just trying to apply the function and its derivatives, get the coefficients, and then if we're centered at negative pi over 4, we should have this term in each of those, x plus pi over 4, okay, except for the first one. All right, so here's my answer right here. Some of you had the proper coefficients, but not, I think I got a couple Maclaurin polynomials, which would be, or a combination of the two. But here is your answer for the first one. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, let me do